hair was burning. It's curly.
The humidity do that. Just a matter.
Oh, is it the humidity?
Can I feed it back into submission? Sorry,
It's okay, please choose. All right, 7, okay. All right, I will call this meeting to order. I think we're already live on our feed. I'm sorry, Lisa, you said ready.
Remember it was schools.
All little slow. All right, everybody would, let's please do
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I didn't mention about cell phones. You wouldn't mind silencing. Lisa, could you call roll, please?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Are we gonna leave this open or are we gonna try to?
I think closed is better.
Darcy Kaplan,
Here.
Angela Brown,
Here.
Sarah Shields,
Here.
Jasper DeChristopher,
Here.
Ray Armstrong,
Here.
Evan Matheny.
Here.
Does anyone have another
I have a whole pile here.
pen? Thank you.
Lisa, can you verify?
Actually, I did see that. Can we get back to that in a second? I didn't notice it.
I will.
I'm so used to it just being right here that.
Hard to adjust.
Yes. Okay, yeah, it was 5 days ago, which I guess was May 21st, on the website and Facebook page.
Perfect, thank you. Meeting minutes. I don't think we got the second and third copies, but, people got to see those that we.
Yeah, there were no changes, I don't think, were there?
Pardon?
Were there any changes? No, yeah, that's fine, then that's the final copy.
All right, I'd like to accept the motion then to approve the meeting minutes from May 12th, please.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. DeChristopher?
Yes.
Ms. Shields?
Yes.
Ms. Kaplan?
Yes. So, tonight's discussion is about possible amendments to the Berlin Township zoning resolution, and specifically the NAICS codes. Some of these codes were referred to for us in here. Do you want to give any background on that?
Yeah, so some background on the presentation that was given by the County Economic Development team last week. Specifically on slide 14 of the presentation, they did kind of a list of different 4-digit codes that they recommended. So I kind of went through and on this sheet that you have here, listed all the 6-digit codes that were under those 4-digit recommendations that they had. The ones highlighted in the orange color are the uses that aren't currently permitted in our BIO zone. And then the ones that are just white are the ones that are still are currently permitted in that zone. That's just a rough background, and if you have further questions I can answer.
I suppose it might be easiest to discuss the ones that are currently in our code, and then dialogue about if we feel any changes to those are in our best interest, I guess. So if I look at this sheet, that takes down to the section. Does that sound like a good approach? Okay, so currently 3, 3, 4, 5, 10 electromedical and electrotherapeutic apparatus manufacturing is permitted in the bio, but not the BCO. So reducing that to 4 digits would really create no change, is sort of what I'm understanding of this. We want to include the BCO. And are we even discussing the BCO as far as changes?
I think we'll have to when we get to one certain issue.
Okay, but maybe not right now.
Oh, no, not right now.
You tell me.
So what is the unclear, so instruments and related products, manufacturing for measuring, displaying, and controlling industrial process variables. And then the one above it, automatic environmental control manufacturing for residential appliances. It's just unclear, so is that where you're not sure?
That is, an inconsistency I noticed in our current code.
Okay,
Basically, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the NAICS code either showed up twice or the title showed up twice, so I wasn't sure which one was permitted and which one was not permitted.
It's the 334512 is there, but it's with the description for the 334513. So you've got the code of one and the description of the other.
Okay, so they're
oh, right.
Okay, so we would need to correct, which sounds like it's kind of a typographical thing.
And just to jump in, there is the irradiation apparatus manufacturing that would be added, which isn't currently included in the code.
Sure, which one's that?
That's 334517 about.
Oh, thank you, okay. Irradiation apparatus manufacturing, does anybody have clarity about exactly what that
Jasper, do you know what that is?
means? What is that?
Sounds like X-rays or MRIs.
So, on the sheet, I included a link that takes you to the definition. Unfortunately, my internet's not working right now, or I would pull that up.
I dumped the whole file, so as soon as I get the thing up here,
Okay.
we'll have something.
Well, thank you for those links, I didn't even see that.
Tubes for applications such as medical diagnostic, medical therapeutic, and industrial research and scientific evaluation. Irradiation can take the form of beta rays, gamma rays, X-rays, or other ionizing radiation.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I know NICS website cross-references to what looks to be like another related, like if you were looking for this code in a different dictionary, then those just find it. X-ray apparatus and tubes and related irradiation apparatus, electromedical and electrotherapeutic apparatus. In case that's useful.
So how do we know, and I mean, this was one of the things that we discussed when we were going through these codes back, then. We wanted to make sure that nothing was harmful to the environment around. Especially with it being so close to parkland, because, I mean, up where the BIO is, for a school up there, and I understand that we have high tension power lines running everywhere throughout the township, but that was one of the things that we had said is if it's going to pollute our ground or our water, we want to be very cautious of that.
So I'm gonna scroll through, but I would expect to see elsewhere in your code, like as an asterisk, in that same section, right? These uses are permitted, however, asterisk, if they're going to, some fancy legal language, right? But like if they're going to impermissibly pollute
Yeah.
or damage, then they're not permitted. but I'll keep looking. If that's not there, I think we can put it there with the caveat being, you have to be fairly clear about what we mean by that.
Yes.
So you already heard me do, it's not no, right? The standard is not zero, it's something unreasonable or something
Yes.
impermissible to the level that EPA decide. I mean, something where it's not just like one drop of spilled nail polish remover and we have a whole, you know what I mean? That's not the intent. But we could put language with certain safeguards and parameters that I think could address that.
Okay.
Because are those then, I mean, like you said, being very clear, are they enforceable? And would they be considered subjective or capricious by somebody who wanted to come in and?
Not if we tie it to a standard, I mean, that'd be the idea, right? That's not just Jen thinks it's unreasonable, but if we say deemed hazardous by OEPA, I mean, if we can tie it to, especially an agency, that's not the only way to do it, but especially an agency whose job is to monitor that sort of thing. It would also surprise me if Allen Creek doesn't have like overlapping, like.
The Army Corps of Engineers.
Right. Like zoning is one thing, sure, but like you can't do things, even if zoning says it's okay, if there's obviously there are other agencies from time to time, no matter where you are, that say, oh, that's nice, but we can't do that here because of this other regulation, so.
Like the EPA, but I don't know that this is 100% accurate, but I've been told, basically, if the Army Corps doesn't own the land, they can't really have any jurisdiction for those things. I
They
don't
do
think
in
that's
blue line
correct.
streams.
I'm sorry?
They do in blue line
Streams,
streams.
okay, blue line, that makes
Property.
sense.
Those are the ones that are, considered navigable. Whether they are or not. And there's a case of one very close to where I live, but it's on the east side of Africa Road.
Okay.
And while it is a stream, it's considered a blue line.
Okay.
And that was one of the reasons that held up the development of the property that now has the apartments on it. Where that was one of two conditions that held it up for, whatever it was, 10 or 12 years.
Okay.
I mean, can we research that more? Is that something we?
Yeah, I'll make a note of it, and we'll incorporate it, or I'll answer back to you all why it couldn't be done, or what we wrote instead. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, so.
Delaware Sewer and Water
Yeah.
Delaware Sewer and Water have some sort of, like we talk about the overarching, because that's who they would have to go through when they go through Delaware County.
Probably. And I'm curious always on these, like, what do other townships do? I think other places are really, not unreasonable, so what
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone who has a natural feature, but like, I don't know anyone who has a natural feature like Allen Creek.
that's true.
Quite in the same way that you guys have that.
Okay.
And usually there's a provision in codes, and I bet yours has it, that says like, you can't conduct uses that are, I call it like the nuisance chapter, that's like, you can't offensive, hazardous, smells, smoke, explosion, right? Like, the big picture things. If you have to use that one, that's sort of, that's sort of a nuclear option, like I'd rather have more specific provision somewhere else in the code, like the one we're proposing. But if you had to, and I've used that provision before for things like a commercial gravel lot that was kicking up so much dust in the dry summer that they couldn't, like, they weren't doing anything to stop, they weren't watering it down, they weren't, managing in and out trips, so we have to take them to court. So things like that, again, that's a backstop, I would rather not have to get to that point if we don't have to, but, so I'll put my head to it and put some language in about the uses.
Yeah, I would be fine with backing up to the 4-digit as long as we have some warning in there on that one. On the irradiation.
So the others are all already in the bio.
Yes.
So with that one exception, reducing to the 4-digit, taking,
Would be
that
fine.
nobody's bugged by that. Okay. And then the one typo. Okay, so that's not a huge change. Then if we drop down to the 3391, medical equipment and supplies manufacturing.
I'd like to bring up one on that.
Okay, go.
I'm not too thrilled with battery manufacturing. That's a hazardous material situation right there. Lithium batteries, lead acid, etc. It's in the middle of a watershed. The other thing is, I think that we would probably have some words of wisdom from our fire departments when it comes to fighting a lithium fire. Considering it takes about 4 or 5 times the amount of water to put out a lithium fire, if you can put it out. Pretty extreme cases that I'm familiar with. I know I'm not a member of the fire department, but that's a pretty hazardous chemical that's ignited, so I think that would be one that I would have real problem deciding to do it battery manufacturing. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I think battery manufacturing has changed immensely since the time we reviewed this. And there are a lot of concerns about lithium.
And there's enough concern about lead, and lead in, excuse me, environment, right?
So Jen, if we were to say, yes, we could reduce our things to 4 digits, could we then say except for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would surprise me if you didn't have some of those already. But yeah, I've had codes before that said, like, I'm just picking one, 6114, but not 61142, 61143, or 61147. No problem. Yep.
Are there any other ones under that section? So we want to exclude that one. Are there any other ones in there?
What's considered all other miscellaneous electrical
Yeah,
equipment and
that's pretty
component
broad.
manufacturing, because that could be a,
It's very broad.
It seems kind of clear we're going to need some language about, kind of what you were saying, but things specifically near the watershed.
illustrative examples include aircraft engine instruments manufacturing, automotive emissions testing, equipment manufacturing, clocks assembling, meteorological instruments manufacturing, physical properties testing and inspection equipment manufacturing, polygraph machines manufacturing, radiation detection and monitoring instruments manufacturing, surveying instruments manufacturing, thermometers, liquid and glass and bimetal types except medical manufacturing, watches except smartwatches and parts except crystal manufacturing.
That's really broad.
And then I'm like, if there's radiation detection and monitoring instruments manufacturing, are they testing
Exactly. How are
those
they?
things?
Yeah.
And once they manufacture them, do they test them in house? And produce radiation.
Probably.
But he did say that, like, if we were just to say no to a certain section, that's okay. Like, we can say no to a whole section, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it has to be okay, it's a township, but.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty uncomfortable with that really broad. That's really broad, really broad.
This was the other one, right? Other.
Yeah, 335999.
Yeah, so that one, the 33590 are.
Sorry, I might have clicked the wrong.
Exception of those, I guess.
That was for the one below, maybe.
You think that was for the auxiliary equipment and
Yeah.
missiles?
Yeah.
Rather than missiles?
Start over.
This is a appliance cords made from purchased, so we know we don't want that one below.
Wait, what's
Yeah.
the number? Help me. Am I-
33419.
Oh, so that's an upstairs, that's the one that you just read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little guided missile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry.
Three,
I'm like
three,
looking at it, I'm like,
four,
wait.
Sorry, say that, 3346.
336419
Isn't it?
under aerospace product and parts manufacturing.
So exclude that one. Wasn't there another one, 335999?
That's what I'm gonna read now.
And is that, I'm sorry, I'm going back
That's
for a second.
electrical equipment.
Is that include the batteries, that, or the battery was in the separate one?
That's
So
separate.
this one is the miscellaneous illustrative examples are appliance cords made from purchased insulated wire, battery chargers, solid state manufacturing, opening and closing devices, electrical manufacturing, electric bells manufacturing, extension cords made from purchased insulated wire, inverters manufacturing, surge suppressors manufacturing, uninterruptible power supplies manufacturing.
That doesn't sound as bad.
I don't hate that.
This
The
one,
big
but it
difference.
does say cross references establishments primarily engaged in, it does say manufacturing, primary and storage batteries.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's amplifiers, atom smashers, chimes, cleaning equipment, ultrasonic condensers, cyclotron manufacturing, maser microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation amplifiers manufacturing.
So that's one that we could absolutely put.
Semiconductor battery chargers manufacturing.
Yeah, you tell us the numbers and we'll cut them out,
Yeah,
as
so
far as I'm concerned.
I would say
I only wanna know which ones you're.
Yeah. So we'll cut that one out as well.
Yeah.
Right?
So 336419 is a no.
and 335999.
Okay. I
Yeah,
confirm.
335910.
Correct. Okay, so on aerospace product and parts manufacturing then.
Are we done with 3359 section?
I think so,
I
all the
think
other ones
so.
looked okay.
I believe so.
Because they're not currently included, so I mean, we should dig into those people or. 'Cause you know, it's almost 10 years that we had this conversation. I don't remember why we said no, but there must have been some thought. Fiber optic cable manufacturing.
I don't know anything about carbon and graphite product manufacturing. I know fiber optic was the one that he was saying was.
It's hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you know, Jen, to your point, I think an overarching dialogue about what a special area that is here. It's not exactly the flatlands of Kansas. Not that there's anything wrong with Kansas, but
And let's see more detail on that carbon.
Says heat shields, carbon or graphite manufacturing, carbon sliding manufacturing, carbon's electric manufacturing, carbon specialties for mechanical use except gaskets, carbon specialties for aerospace, brush blocks, carbon or molded graphite, metal graphite products manufacturing, lighting carbon manufacturing, heat shields. Okay. Car stuff and
I mean, that sounds pretty benign. I didn't know a whole lot about it.
Well, but I think if we were to put that language in there, right, about finding what certain levels are, making sure that whether it's the EPA or whoever, whatever language we can find, for these codes to say if a pollutant exceeds X number, it cannot be.
So I don't know
That.
how Ohio has this or not, but in California, they have like a regulated substance list, hazardous materials list. Businesses that use those would have to get a permit from the local department that regulated those. And our city would kind of jump off that and require a conditional use permit for any business that wanted to use those materials above those limits.
it says carbon and graphite manufacturing presents significant environmental and health challenges largely due to high energy consumption, toxic emissions, and reliance on harsh chemicals.
I mean, I think we could probably, if we looked hard, find a reason to exclude every one of these, right? So, where's the line of reason? I have no idea.
Yeah, I like what you said though, when if there's, I don't know, California is very advanced in all of that. So it would be amazing if we did, but I don't even know where we would go to find if Ohio has something like that.
No, they do.
They do?
Well, I mean, pretty much every state is gonna have reporting requirements. So if you're using anything hazardous, like, because it starts at the US level,
Okay.
and they'll signify it, and then California goes way even beyond it. But every state is gonna have, like, if you're at using something that has to be reported by the US, some states go beyond that, some states just adopt it.
Okay.
So, I mean, look, I know even, we used to work for Ashley Chemical, but now Valvoline, and even Valvoline, like, the stuff we buy, we're buying base oil, additives, and we have things we have to report on. And if you spill so much, you have to report that you had a spill, and you've got to have containment on site to be able to keep it in your borders, because if you spill outside of your borders, you are actually liable and responsible to clean it up. So
There is a list.
yeah.
Emergency planning and community right to know list of extremely hazardous substances. And it comes from ohio.gov. And it says the chemical name, the threshold quantity is like pounds, industry use only, reportable quantity pounds like spill/release. And then threshold planning quantity pounds, LEPC use only. So like there is a certain number, like, let's see if we can go to graphite.
So then we could use that and go a couple of steps less, right? Or more than, you know what I mean? In the opposite direction, right? To be more strict on what we would.
This seems, I'm Googling similar things, and it seems to be, so the act you said, the emergency planning community right to know is a federal environmental law. Generally seems to be overseen by the US EPA, but I'm sure I don't think I'm out on too much of a limb to say probably US EPA delegates certain authorities reporting necessary, whatever, to the various state EPAs. So I think we're still well within that. Like, in my opinion, you're not creating any kind of risk or trouble by saying if you raise the EPA's eyebrows, like we have a problem with it. Like we don't think that fits.
I think we need to put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Clearly
yeah,
in
I'm
the
fine with that.
code.
Yeah, I agree.
There was an issue that came up a couple of years ago, more than a couple, I think, and it was about a cement plant that they wanted to put in. And the public outcry was about anybody downwind it. And that is definitely something that people were ready to
I have no doubt.
pitchforks and torches.
Yeah.
So how do we incorporate that in there? Can you derive the language to?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I was just gonna put it, I mean, at least right now, I'm thinking about putting it in the prohibited uses section of that, or where we're at right now, BIO, and assuming we need something like it in the BCO, but we'll put it in the BIO and say, I mean, the BIO is an overlay, which means it's a planned district, which means the township has more control than any standard district.
Should we put it in any of our commercial use districts, or like where you can have a business, that.
Okay. It's either in a planned district than a standard district. But assuming most of your districts that exist and or are in use, right, are planned. Most people aren't doing standard districts by any volume right now.
I'm just thinking like the broad umbrella of our township, like if anybody is doing, what's the right word I'm looking for? But just like as a safety umbrella for like our township, just if there's a business that has some sort of chemical that is, that they're following the regulations of the EPA or whatever, we establish as that.
You can put that elsewhere. Sometimes I'm a little bit, a little bit hesitant to codify other people's jurisdiction, because whether it's in your code or not, they have to comply with EPA, and whoever else, they have to comply, period, right? Like, so sometimes I think you could really go either way, but you really don't gain anything. If what we're saying is thou shalt comply with other agency, it really doesn't give you anything, because no one's ever gonna, I don't think it's usually a good idea to enforce against someone for violating someone else's code, right? But you're like, but it's a violation of my code now, because I said it was a violation of my code. It's like, well, who should take that violator to court? The EPA or the township for a violation of EPA? Well, the EPA should take it to court, is my thinking.
So, it's an interesting thought, like, we could make changes right now, knowing that the EPA or some, whatever organization has a certain requirement, but those requirements could change too. So, let's protect against that, the right way to look at it, or?
To a degree, however, if we stay static and like the EPA pretends the EPA changes, now I think there's a chance, depending on the facts, that we open ourselves up to, arbitrary, capricious, like what are we tied to? I'm not an environmental engineer. I'm not gonna know what the parts per million should be or not be, or how to measure them, right? So we have, I think, a safer path when we're referring to the experts we do have in whatever agency you're talking about.
That makes sense. Okay.
But I see what you're saying.
All right. So where are we falling on these? I think we can craft language that we've discussed. A lot of these things become less attractive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. Again, this isn't just an undeveloped 100-acre farm field. It's right on the banks of a fairly major waterway for certainly a major waterway for Central Ohio. And I think you have sort of, again, reason on your side to say, a concrete plant, might be fine. I recognize that the community generally doesn't think, in my experience, the community generally doesn't say it's fine. But in the middle of nowhere with little to no, impact, people who may be feeling the impact. But again, is it proper, right on, is it a good idea, right on the banks of a environmentally sensitive area? Maybe not. I think that you have reason to say there are certain uses here that may not make sense given their impacts, and we want to know the impacts as part of your submission. And we want to put you on notice ahead of time that if it's significant enough, we won't be recommending approval, basically.
So another question is, people are not required to pull into the cloud, and annexation always looms large. So if somebody doesn't like this and they decide to annex, some of those concerns, they don't go away.
Right.
But you lose the ability, I guess. But there will still be the EPA, and there will still be
That's true.
water and sewer. So.
Well, and if it generated, I don't know, there's too many hypotheticals at this point, but if it generated the kind of volume that we think it might, which is why we're even talking, or not volume meaning outcry, right? That why we're even thinking about legislating it more carefully, like we're talking about. Well, then whoever's annexing probably going to get that outcry in the same way. And do they have the stomach for it to just say, forget it, we're doing it anyway, or not?
Yeah, they're pretty well proven that.
Oh, well, then that's the answer. Well, then they are also the ones then that have to deal with the phone calls.
Right.
Forever and always going forward. And only they can decide at that time if they are prepared for that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Yeah, if it's not allowed here, could that invite someone to explore other avenues? And of course. Yeah. And one of those might pay out and they get to do it anyway.
Gotcha. All right. So, where are we at?
So I think that 336419 is the only one that we would say absolutely exclude, and then we want to go back to that, the working on how to limit based on levels.
You don't want to exclude 335 910 and 335 999.
Oh, sorry, we were on aerospace now.
Oh, you were limiting what you just said to got. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the other ones, yeah, we would.
Okay. Sorry, I took it as a grand total, not a subsection total.
Yeah, so 3359 is good, with the excluding of the 10 and the 99.
Got it.
And then I think 3364 is good with excluding of the 19, right? And then again, just having the language, the overarching language in there about pollution and emissions.
So I want to ask about, this was kind of what they were suggesting we consider reducing down to 4-digit codes. Were they making a suggestion that they should be considered for the BCO, or are we only talking about BIO?
I think they only were looking at BIO.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that, because I know that column's here, and I'm like,
I don't want to speak for them, my understanding is the BIO, I'm going to just include the BCO.
so we're really not even thinking about how this would impact the BCO.
These would really just go into codes for the BIO.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind, move on. So we're down to 3391.
Yeah.
And those are already.
Those are already in, so that one's fine to reduce down. Software publishers.
5132.
Access code was updated in 2022 from 51120 to 513210. Note that the 4-digit was up to 5132 as well.
So So it's just that one code in there? Or just that
So,
one
But it
code?
says here, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, 513210. And it says that it's in our code, but I don't see it.
Basically, my note there is saying in our old code, it's outdated, and what the recommendation was updated in 2022, makes codes. So, yeah, there's gonna be a discrepancy there between our code and the.
yeah,
So it was in our code though.
the
It
old
was, but it was a different
Oh,
code.
but the number completely
Yeah.
changed. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and the old number is periodical publishers.
Okay.
And I think that may have been their question mark too, because they were like, if someone wasn't using, like if they looked at it and took it as the old code, then they would think that a software publisher is not allowed.
Yeah,
That makes
Where,
sense.
because we have the 2017 version, not the new version.
yeah.
So if they didn't notice that the code was the old code, they would think they weren't allowed,
That
even
makes
though
sense.
in 2017 code language, they would be.
Okay.
So then if we already said yes to software publishers, then that seems fine.
Yeah.
Just go to the subject.
And that might be just a matter of when we publish the code, just make it very clear at the top, that this is currently based on 2017
Yeah.
codes. And we can update it as needed going forward with it.
Two of them.
511210.
So we had the first two, 517, 111, 112.
So it says that telecommunication resellers, this U.S. industry comprises establishments engaged in purchasing access and network capacity from owners and operators of telecommunications networks and reselling wired and wireless telecommunication services to business and households, except satellite telecommunications and agents for wireless telecommunication services. Establishments in this industry resell telecommunications. They do not operate transmission facilities and infrastructure. So acting virtual mobile network operators, except agents, prepaid calling cards, telecommunications resellers, wired telecommunication resellers. So this, I'm kind of wondering how this is even industrial.
Maybe in the other one also.
Long distance telecommunication resellers.
BCO maybe?
That's what I was wondering.
I wonder if it's just lumped in because of the 4-digit.
Yeah,
Because the next one is the agents for mobile virtual network operators, agents for wireless telecommunication carriers, cellular telephone stores selling cellular phone service plans on an agent
yeah, so
basis.
that's all
So I think
commercial.
that's probably just BCO. That's probably why it's not in the BIO.
So we could probably back it up.
I would say you could, if there was somebody who really wants to put it in the BIO,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think there'd be an issue.
so that would be fine going with the 4-digit. Data processing.
I think he made some comments about that, and I think, well, I have an opinion, and I suppose so do a lot of people do. We're talking about data centers here,
Yes.
and there's no size regulation or whatnot, because one, with the number that we've got, I see the other night on the news, there's 240 in the state of Ohio, and 142 of them are in central Ohio. That was all the news this past week. Now, I don't know how anybody else feels, but I certainly don't want a major data center the size of what they're building out there in New Albany, plopped in the middle of this. For one thing, that doesn't
only have 10 to 12 employees. Because all they're doing is monitoring equipment.
So it's not bringing, yeah, it's not bringing
So
jobs.
you're not, it does not bring jobs.
Yeah.
And stuff in here, not very many. And for what it does to the electrical grid. Anybody seen how much of the electrical grid is being replaced in our township and in this county in the last 6 months that we're going right now? That's all as a result of that stuff. So what do you want to do? And how do we control the size of it? Like I understand maybe they have, it was mentioned in Orange Township.
So this makes me question though, because it says we have those already in the,
We do. That
And
doesn't
the
mean,
DOL.
doesn't mean we have to leave it
and that's what I'm saying, so then some of these that we're saying, oh, well, it's already in there, should we be digging deeper into?
Well, the whole data center conversation is, I mean, it's really interesting. And yes, they take a lot of resources, and they don't provide a ton of jobs.
Yeah.
But I think what we've also seen is that many, I don't know, townships, cities, whatever, have given pretty enormous tax abatements. Giving away the farm is what I think is,
Yeah.
and you know, I've read a bunch of articles on this, and some are like, you know, don't get rid of data centers, but give yourself a much better deal. Now, we don't have anything to do with that. That's economic development. And there are entities that are now trying to self-power, talking mini nuclear. We have any jurisdiction over that. I don't know if we do or not.
No, you're dealing with something that's federally controlled.
Yeah, I mean, this is,
I read some of the design stuff.
Or
so the article I read today that I thought was really interesting, and I have no knowledge whether this is true or not, but they were saying that this war against data centers is actually driven by Chinese bots. And I was like, wow.
Could be.
Okay. So that we don't, you know, make great microchips and compute, you know, internationally. Well, that's another perspective. Wow.
Well, I know when they gave their presentation, they had the one slide that outlined the sizes
Okay.
and talked about should we, because they pointed out,
Yeah.
if we, you know, right now, our number is in there, and someone could come in and say, hey, I'm gonna build the biggest one I can build over there.
Yeah.
They
And
could.
they said, would we wanna go in and put that number, leave it, or not leave it, or put in extra language to say, he gave the 5 categories, where we say, we reduce the category size, basically. So it's not the big ones like New Albany, where it's Meta,
Yeah.
or Amazon, where it's the football field size plus type of building, but it's, you know, he gave the example of the one at Orange Township that's going up. I'm trying to remember, it's right at the Home Road extension, the Home
Yeah.
Road and.
It was already industrial, so we had to allow it. It was just a permit.
So practical data center categories, though, doesn't have an NAICS code associated with it. How would we even describe that? How would we make that happen?
Is that a Jim question?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of question that is. It's not.
Say that again, practical, practical, is that a term, a subset?
So,
Oh,
you weren't here for this, but they gave us this, desktop, practical data center categories. And it says modern zoning increasingly distinguishes these categories explicitly, but it didn't say how.
what do you call the cat, what are the categories?
Category enterprise / local data center is one, co-location facility, edge data center, hyperscale data center, AI / HPC compute campus. And those are the ones that take the most resources.
Basically, it goes and says from office support, multi-tenant server, distributed process, massive cloud infrastructure, extremely high power.
So from size, I mean roughly, small to big.
Small.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the NACS code doesn't
No.
categorize at
Sure,
all.
no,
It could be the size of this room, or it could be the size of,
but you can put regulations on.
To
Size.
we can do it by size.
or
You
by
could put it by
category.
size, you could make it a conditional use over a certain size, prohibit it over a certain size. You could, I've done both straight, not so much data, I think this, what I'm thinking of was for a warehouse, but similar concerns at the time. Oh, all the good old days when the concern was warehouse. But we limited it by like number of bay doors. Again, I know that's different in a data center than bay doors, but think about like things that are not necessarily, you can do size, but if there were things other than size that dictated how big or impactful it could be, regulate those.
Well, I think that's why you do as this list,
Mhm.
whereas, yeah.
Minimum size, minimum setbacks. I mean, if you want it far away from other stuff, we could put on data center or 5182 specific requirements that address these concerns or work toward that.
Well, I think one of the reasons that we want to do that is because of the infrastructure that the county's put all the money in. Water, electric, sewer capacity, I don't really see.
They have to, by
Water,
redundancy,
cooling
is
stuff.
data centers
There's really, Merrill, I'm really doing the stuff south of 36 at the moment as far as the water and so on. So I don't think we want to give it away in one operation. We've got all that other land to deal with it that way. So I think we should restrict size-wise. We should keep it very small.
So what about saying that we would allow anything, we would allow up to a hyperscale data center, but basically we wouldn't allow a hyperscale data center or an AI PC computer campus.
So this first three
So we
categories.
would allow the first three categories.
There are other ones
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
that are listed. It says by architecture and ownership. There's enterprise data centers, co-location data centers, hyperscale, cloud data centers, edge data centers, and modular data centers.
We don't have modular on here.
They're pre-engineered, containerized units that can be easily transported and rapidly deployed. So where, like, that was one, would be one that, like, they could be manufactured and stored on.
I've heard of these, I think it's like, I've never heard the term for it, but it's like, I mean, it might be like a semi-truck. I mean, I know that's not small,
Yeah.
small compared to the great big building size.
Yeah.
So then,
Was that in the link term?
no, this is, I was looking at different tiers of, like, or how to measure them.
Okay.
I'd like to stick with the two smaller sizes.
And so I was like,
Yeah.
so edge data centers are smaller localized facilities placed closer to end users and devices by minimizing geographic distance are built to reduce latency. Cloud data centers are off-premises virtualized environments hosted by public cloud providers. Hyperscale are massive. Let's see. Co-location says also known as colos. These act as shared rental facilities. Multiple businesses rent physical space, racks, and bandwidth while the co-location provider manages the facility's power, cooling, and physical security. So you could end up having like multiple tenants in one building.
Right. They do that in downtown.
But there's also by redundancy and tiers. It says data centers are commonly classified into 4 tiers by the Uptime Institute, measuring the redundancy, fault tolerance, and expected uptime. So tier 1 is a capacity with a single non-redundant path for power and cooling. Expected uptime is 99.671%, allows for nearly 29 hours of annual downtime. So it's like, and one is
Only
like
29 hours of annual downtime. downtime?
And the tier 4 allows for less than 30 minutes of annual downtime.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, I will note that our current zoning permits this in the bio and the BCO.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, so that's what we have to look at. Yeah.
And doing it, yes, I had a data center that was in a semi-trailer, moved it 3 times to different cities in Ohio. And the 4th time I moved it, I had it uninstalled from the trailer building, permanent building. So it can be done. That was 20 years ago. So I retired from there 20 years ago. So, it's not a new thing. But I really suggest that we limit it down so it doesn't eat up our resources without.
Because what did he say too, that they're putting in a 20 megawatt power line, 36, 37? And it sounded from the way he said that that's in anticipation of those kind of power needs.
Well, if you add up the possibilities of all the rest of that industrial land, you could eat that up without ever
Yeah.
having a data center.
Yeah.
It doesn't go as far, and that is going to be a 3-phase application.
Could we see if the regional planning commission has any, like, sample data or sample language?
I think we can, yeah.
This is interesting. It says a common regulatory approach and tools for township, because I just Googled AI. Regulations of data centers in rural townships. And it says a cumulative impact study. Some advanced ordinances require developers to evaluate the long-term what-if impacts of building multiple data centers in a region. Maybe there's something that we can, like, kind of as part of like the conditional use, you know, for some, like, even if we still are allowing for data centers, the smaller ones, is having them do more of like, kind of like the traffic impact studies.
Yeah.
You know, that we required for those, like a long-term impact study.
On how much power usage it would have, yeah. Water usage, yeah.
So we can tell them they have to do a study, so they do the study.
But I think we would
Who
still.
decides whether we like the outcome?
Yeah, that's.
And well, I think we still need the categories in there.
Yeah,
I agree. And we might
It
want to,
says rural townships often update zoning codes to strip data centers of by right status. Instead, developers must undergo a conditional use or special exemption process, which requires the public hearings and specific approvals. They impose strict decibel limits on cooling fans and emergency backup generators, especially during nighttime hours. Power and emissions, some strict rural ordinances require facilities to use on-site power generation and or underground transmission lines and limit the emissions and load drawn from local grids. And then water usage and waste ordinances mandate compliance regarding water consumption for cooling, groundwater protection, and hazardous waste management from backup generators.
that's a lot. It's
Well-
important, but how do you do that?
And I guess, like, with the way I mean, it's DIO, so it's an overlay. I mean, I don't think we have any other conditional uses in it. We just have, here's what you can do.
Yeah, this is what you
Right.
can do.
We don't have a, well,
You can or cannot do that.
yeah, it's a yes or a no. It's not,
Right.
well, you could, but you have to do conditional. So
Setbacks and
do
screening
we?
are another thing. It says data center buildings that allow cooling systems are required to sit a minimum distance, for example, 300 plus feet from residential property lines, and developers are required to build heavy visual buffers. So some of those restrictions
Can we open it to make it conditional?
You can. What's different about your scenario than probably most is that it's, like you said, it's already an overlay. So there's already a layer of review. People who put it in as conditional, not every time, but how that works, I guess, in one of the better ways is if you put it as conditional in a standard district right? Where it's standard, so it's like, if you get your zoning, you do whatever it says, you do whatever it says. So that's where adding a conditional use component, it's like, oh, now they're instantly another layer of review. You already have a layer of review under the BIF rights overlay when they pull down the cloud and talk to you, and the ARB and the Board of Trustees. So now to me, it's a question of, do you gain anything? You can make it a conditional use, but you gotta go see the BZA first. But if the BZA grants it, now what? Now what? Or would you prefer, and I'm sort of wrestling with my own mind as I'm saying things out loud, given the level of legislative, you all trustees, review, administrative review, is that better? Is the normal overlay review by, again, those three township entities, is that better than adding a fourth, the BZA, and making it conditional use? I guess I'm leaning maybe better to just to consider it as part of, because again, what's one more board? I mean, if it's gonna get denied, I suppose it could get denied at you, the ARB, the Board of Trustees, so what's
We have
the
control over it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, I went from throwing information and then into like an assessment. I'm not trying to impose that assessment on anyone, but I think.
Well, I think we've got to come up with the language to get it restricted to the size that we want to recommend. And we've got to somehow put limits on what we expect to see during the study as used or to get it in the process. Because if we don't have something in there that says specifically, then it's not gonna work if we don't have specifics in the code on that, because
Right now, we're open to
opening it up
all of
to
it.
arbitrary.
Does the county's presentation that uses those category terms, they define those terms? Are those industry?
But to Tara's point, or Tara said it doesn't actually include all of the categories that are on the paper. There were a couple of
May
other
have
ones.
changed that.
Yeah, they're gonna change them to this.
So we can use those, but I would then define, if we're using that as size, I would still give some kind of objective size requirement. Square footage, I mean, that's probably the cleanest one, but anyone has other ideas. Then we've already put these other items on the table with visual buffers, setbacks, and those are other very
We kind of have those, I don't know if they're sufficient for this. And our decibel levels are already covered in our code. So I know that's another objection many people have to data centers, there's sort of a continuous low-level hum or something detectable depending on, how good your hearing is, I guess, but I don't think it's necessarily loud, but it's somehow still intrusive.
And it's continuous.
Yeah.
Okay. I used it in terms of megawatt. So, I asked, what are the categories of data centers in the respective sizes? And this actually did megawatt. So, it says hyperscale data centers are 100 megawatt plus, co-location data centers are 10 to 100, enterprise data centers are 1 to 10, edge data centers are less than 1, the micro module data centers are. So,
It's more geared toward just industrial.
if we said the hyperscale to not keep the hyperscale, but to allow, do we even want anything of co-location, do we even want anything coming near 100? I mean, that's just such a big jump.
This is like like, it's using the energy it uses is
Yeah.
what this is. So that gets a little, I guess we can do that, but honestly, from an enforcement or a proof end of things, we're never gonna know.
No.
I'm not ever gonna know. I don't know how you measure that, I mean, other than, if they came in, how that's gonna play out is they come in, for permission. They say, yep, no, we're whatever the micro one is, enterprise, we're enterprise. You go, okay, enterprise, yeah, that's something we think we can live with. And then, hey, we're moving it. I was gonna say, like, someone complains that they're actually at 100.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, ask AEP.
I think we'll have to do more research on this one to see what size is versus the megawatts. Cause this is categorized by size and purpose. But,
50% winter capacity, 70% summer capacity.
Yeah, like Mike says, standard in co-location is anywhere from 50 to 150,000 square feet, which is roughly like 2.3 acres, and then you're getting up to the hyperscale, which is 10 acres, basically 500,000 square feet, but there's only 700 of those in the world, so.
so the co-location.
Anything more than a handful of acres would basically be ginormous.
So the co-location, co-location, that's what's in New Albany.
Yeah, so I mean, really, all co-location means is that like it's not just like Google or whatever, right? The co-location piece is multiple businesses, right, are like renting server space, so they're co-locating into servers together.
Okay.
If you didn't know who would what, it just
It
looks like
would,
one big
yeah,
circle.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need actual footprints.
The minimum side yard, rear side yard is 1/3 of the sum of the height and depth of the structure.
Do you wanna do that?
Yeah, I think I can always do analysis and get back to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I'll take a closer look into it and see what.
And see what other townships have as well.
Yeah,
Not the New Albany ones, because New Albany has it, but.
I'm surprised that New Albany has that so visible. I mean, really, some of the acreage we're talking about with the bio is kind of seldom seen, right? I mean, it's off the beaten track. That's really not.
No.
That one surprised me. Because they've been so careful with their development.
No.
Okay. All right, so we have more to chew on with this one. Okay, 5192.
So another thing that I think we need to look at though, real quick, or talk about with that is that in the BIO, the setbacks and the land buffering and stuff is not conducive to a data center. Like, if it borders, like I'm just reading like right-of-way setbacks and minimum side yards and rear yards is 1/3 of the sum of the height and depth of the structure. Or 250 feet for residential purposes at the time of this adoption. But then like the actual landscaping barriers like 50% and 70% opacity, so I think that's fine for some industrial things, but not a data center.
We would have to update.
I think we would need to update the wording for it if we choose to accept some of those things. And, whether that's heavy walls or sound barriers. Like I think of the stuff on highways, the barrier, the sound walls,
Yeah.
So that's something we need to consider too if we're considering changing that to allow it.
too?
Well, that one's easy.
Good, I like easy.
I say
Libraries.
yes.
Since they're already in, right?
Yeah.
But just updating the codes.
Yeah.
Like you called out.
And then the next one is too, they're all architectural engineering, so 5413, they're all in there.
Apparently we like architects.
Yeah, we like architects.
There aren't that many of those are.
5415 also all in there, so that's fine.
Okay.
5417 though, we've got, and this is one we had talked about a lot, is the research and development area. Back when we did these.
Say that 541720, research and development in the social sciences and humanities. I think that's what they were talking about with the partnerships with the local colleges.
Yeah, but it says that that's in our bio, but it's not.
Oh, no, the one below it,
Oh, okay.
720,
Okay,
the one that says now, yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And I was just throwing this out there, and I don't know if that's any of these related to that, or if that's back up in the 5413. But like I was like the Hilltop Youth Garden and on the west side, we did a lot of work with OSU Extension and Nutrition program. Like I'm thinking if we're doing some of these research and partnering with the local colleges, like we could potentially do some like grants for around here with like Parks and Trails, and you know that there may be opportunities for different, if we do allow some of this research and development type of.
Yeah.
Probably more specifically related to that 541720. I don't know about
Research and development.
the nanotechnology.
Biotechnology. This one is plumbing research.
Interesting.
DNA technologies. Nucleic.
We're gonna start cloning people here in
Yeah.
township.
Yep.
We don't want missiles, so we'll take dogs.
We'll take plumbing, yeah. Tree resurrection ashes, like, on that. My dog.
So I don't have the 5417 in the bio codes at all. That one?
One of them is
But I don't see it in our book.
54175.
Yeah, so where did they say it's approved? Because I don't see it. 690, 5418.
What I'm looking at is that you have 54, maybe the whole thing. But I can
But not 5417. Now we
No,
got
but 54 would include.
Yeah, I see it. 541715. Research and development, physical engineering, and life sciences. In the PIF. On page 19-8. Is that your old binder?
And that's a 2017.
Is that your old binder for the
That's the
PIF?
problem, yes, thank you.
It's in the 2017 codes.
Well, that explains that mystery thing.
I thought I had the same version in here.
It's in that one.
Okay, I've got the old one.
Oh, I don't even know where one must be. No, mine was updated in 2024.
Yeah, but.
It's on page 19-8.
Yep. I think that's your old one.
This is the old book.
Here we go, 5417. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, so this one as well, as long as it's
I mean,
adhering
honestly,
to.
the biotechnology is cloning and nucleic acid chemistry research and experimental protein engineering research, recombinant DNA. I don't totally see.
Yeah, it's as long as it's complying to standards, EPA standards, right, health standards.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to work. Okay, I'm just look it up. So here's a great thing. The one that ends in 20, the research and development in social sciences and humanities. One of the centers that it calls out is Children's Hospital Medical Center. So Dana-Farber Cancer, INST.
Isn't MITRE Corporation here too?
Incorporated, yeah. What's up?
The MIT, MITRE, however you say it, isn't that here in Ohio? I feel like it is.
Yeah, I think they are. There's also Roswell Park Cancer Institute, Family Health International. Oh yeah, my Tree Corporation. Yeah.
Archaeological research, behavioral research.
That's pretty cool. I'm surprised that this is considered industrial.
It might be something that could be in BCO too.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going with this one?
I guess as it falls because of the R&D aspect.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't really put an R&D center in a commercial.
No, that's true. Yeah.
That's probably one.
Okay. Okay.
I'm okay with all those.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
Yep. The next one's easy, 5511, they're all in there.
Yeah, thanks.
And then 6215 are in there. So let me just go back up to the top. Electric power generation, transmission and distribution. The nuclear's there.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah.
I mean, and would you argue that fossil fuel,
Yeah.
at this point?
And then
I
other
don't see it
electric
putting
power
it there.
generation, could somebody fall under batteries with that one?
What is biomass?
Basically, that's where they take, farm products, farm manure, stuff like that, for methane gas and, convert it.
Oh,
You've got one out here on, Gregory Road, have had for years.
oh really?
Yeah.
Where?
Title with like.
Is it right up from the school?
Is that?
Yes, it's two properties from the school.
Oh,
What would that be like, the dam?
okay.
Oh, yeah, hydroelectric.
Didn't know that.
I was looking at other, I guess, title would be. So this likely does get implicated, as I'm sure you're all aware,
with data centers, if they do, or if they have to generate their own power, this would be another place they have to check the box, either the kind of power they wanna generate as a permitted use or something.
Okay.
Because if they're generating their own, I mean, I don't know the case law, it's obviously a developing area, but like, if you're generating your own power, I'm not sure you're a public utility anymore. Like, that the power is a public utility, so other places we would be like, hands off, it's public utility. But I'm not sure if you're generating it solely for yourself, are you a public utility?
Not if you're not.
Probably not, right,
Yeah.
probably not, so, just as a, this would be, something they need out of this, if they're having to do their own, nuclear or otherwise, they're gonna have to find something in this list that they are allowed to do.
So hydroelectric, we'll just go from the top. So hydroelectric, I mean, we are putting in the new water lines, the high capacity water line, but do we really want that to be taken up with?
Did they do anything with the dam and hydroelectric?
I mean, yeah, you have to build a dam to get hydroelectric power, you can't
Yeah,
use municipal water for it.
Now,
okay.
Yeah, it
Besides the
really,
water.
only works with like rivers.
Yeah, I don't think
Like
that's.
Okay, so then that one doesn't matter.
besides the water company here,
It's not public utility.
it's private land.
The fossil fuel power generation. We wanna do a no, do we wanna do anything on that one?
I don't even feel like I know enough about these to.
Whole oil and gas.
I mean, if you think about anything like solar, electric power generation would be under our solar whole chapter on solar power, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just residential.
There's
It's
a
residential. Yeah,
But
'cause
like,
it says
But
slide.
would that be solar farms?
Yeah.
If they're under 50 megawatts, yeah. The threshold for being able to regulate solar for townships is the 50 megawatt threshold, if they generate 50 megawatts or less. If they're over 50, they're PUC, power siting order. But again, if it's, or just in general, you're talking in general, not just.
I'm saying for industrial, like, would that be, like, if they're coming in here for a wind or solar electric power generation use code?
Yeah,
Would
that would
that
be,
be
it would be
solar?
solar farm of 50 megawatts or less.
And then same thing with wind electric power generation, that would be huge windmills.
Correct. I don't think that one's 50.
Which I can't say I like the idea of that being so close to Elm Creek, just because of the impact with the large rafters. We've worked hard to get back here. But once again, I'm no expert, I don't know.
Geothermal, not terrible.
No, I'm fine with it.
Geothermal. And bio. I mean, I think bio's fine.
I can't imagine trying to put in a windmill around here.
No, I know.
That's gonna be a losing
Yeah.
proposition.
I would think.
Electric bulk power transmission and control, is that like an AEP plant?
What was that, Tara?
Electric bulk power transmission and control? Is that like the big AEP?
It calls out like Southern Maryland Electric Co-op,
Yeah.
Northern California Power Agency, New York, Transcorp, Pattern Energy Group. I mean, yeah, Essential Electric Power.
Yeah, but if they're utility, they don't need like none of these, if they're utility, they don't need your permission. Like, they can do whatever they want. There's that.
Electric Power Control.
If any of these users are private, that's when they, and not a utility, that's when they would be. zoning. So yeah, I don't know.
Is maybe a stupid question, but are energy co-ops considered like a private company?
Depending on what all they do, it probably will get the benefit of, like, how they're operated and then what all they do, probably get the benefit of being considered a utility. Probably.
That's what I was just thinking, maybe that's what it's
Yeah.
falling under.
These were on the county's list, these were
They mentioned they're willing to come back and explain anything further. They're open to it if you guys want to hear them again.
I think I'd like to hear the thing on the power. The
Yeah,
power,
me
what
too.
what that
I would
includes.
too.
I don't. I'm lost on that, I guess. What-
email. Hey, question on this, what was the vision?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And or if they plan on coming back for the BCL, then maybe you just do it at the same time.
Well, or Jen, did you say, does this also fall into the, I'm something big and I want to generate my own power?
Yeah, right, is that why they're in? Yeah. I
So
bet you're right.
I'm not a utility, but I'm gonna generate my own power and then use it internally for myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm a data center or I'm a large
You're-
company manufacturing, and I'm not gonna rely on the grid, I'm gonna make it myself. I
So
need that.
one property, one parcel could be this, and then the other parcel could be the actual
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah,
Well, that's-
and that's probably where it comes in.
You're right.
Yeah. No, and then they fall under no regulation.
Well, I mean,
Other
you
than-
could regulate these.
Yeah.
If they're not utilities, they're coming in and they have to ask permission. I mean, you could, I mean, if that's the intent, then this is truly an accessory commercial use, right? That power is accessory to the main thing, making the widgets, I should say, making the thing. So yeah, I mean, but either way, yeah, you could limit it. I mean, you could regulate, like I mean, how much space it takes up, where it's located. It has to be set back behind the primary use. And you could, any way you would want to regulate and minimize its impact. I mean, you could. If that's, I mean, assuming that's what it is what is happening.
We need to get the data center piece right.
Does anybody have, I mean, do we wanna just hold
I
on?
think we need a lot more information.
Yeah, I think just put a hold on that one
Yeah.
and ask more questions,
Yeah.
see what the vision is. Pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing, I mean, that's, he was saying Eli Lilly, you know, over and over and over again. I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's safe manufacturing.
Right. I mean, I agree. It's pretty heavily regulated industry.
This is the semiconductor machinery manufacturing, we talked about that one. It's already in our code, but it was just an expansion of the 4 digits that we're working in. Actually, I just got an alert on my phone that like a paper mill blew up.
That what?
Like some paper mill blew up in like
I saw
Massachusetts
that.
or something.
Oh, cool.
Terrible, yeah.
Wonderful.
A lot of people do
I
that.
didn't mean cool, but I'm like, that's wonderful, as we're talking about, like,
Yes.
safe manufacturing, right? I think we're all about that.
Yeah, well, paper mills are stinky, is my objection.
Oh, they are.
Clarify, this one might be just manufacturing of the equipment and not an actual paper.
Okay,
Oh,
No paper machinery and
Machinery manufacturing.
I probably don't object as much.
Food product machinery manufacturing, semiconductor machinery manufacturing,
So not food
Yeah.
product. maybe,
It's
but-
the actual machine.
industrial
that-
machinery,
yeah.
machinery, I'm fine with all those.
Yeah.
Bare printed circuit manufacturing, semiconductor related device manufacturing, capacitor, resistor coil.
So I think all of these, the biggest thing is making sure that, again, they're clean. It's all clean, what they're doing for all the circuit board, the semiconductor, all of that.
Meaning
They're not
no
producing-
emissions, no,
Yeah,
like,
they're
no
not
water into the
producing-
air, into the, yeah.
They're not producing pollutants, yeah. And any waste that they have, right, is being properly disposed of as well, because that's the biggest thing with all computer, parts, is that they are disposed of properly. So that was the whole list.
Pretty good progress. We have questions though. And I would guess regional planning and financial development have seen this stuff before and I think they could help us construct.
So where I had their biggest questions was around 5182 for the data centers. And then really it was the electric power generation, transmission and distribution, 2211. We just need to understand a lot more about that.
We have questions. But I think, given the doc, it's opening it up quite a bit.
Thanks for putting that together.
Yeah.
It's better than my own scratching.
I'll definitely see what I can find out about what other townships do and some of the general practices for this.
Is there a sense that the county has been asking other townships, I mean, I'm just wondering if they have even a starting point for some of, I mean, if we said, hey, where are other places you've presented these suggestions, did you help them with setbacks, noise, landscaping?
I think that's a good question to
And if
ask.
so, can you share? Yeah.
I think that'd be regional planning.
I think so too, but I'm just curious if.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
even it's said repeatedly, we're like the only place, except maybe at one township, that does it by NAICS codes. So we're the sort of unicorn. Well, that was suggested by regional planning and financial development when
So
we
we're
did this.
unicorn or redheaded stepchild?
So yeah, they're not suggesting this to other places. First of all, they don't have an undeveloped 2,000 acres of land, and they are not guided by these NAICS codes.
Yeah, but if someone doesn't have NAICS codes,
They
obviously
feel
not
like
arguing
they're-
with you,
They
they
have
would
a
have,
solution.
sure, certainly they have use designators, and so
Yeah.
you tell them, I mean, I'm trying to think about it. Those use categories do everything that they, whether NAICS code numbers or not,
Yeah.
those lists do everything they're
That
looking
seems strange,
for.
yeah.
I don't understand.
Number isn't magical, it's just how people have chosen. Fit it something. Was there any discussion, I don't know, this is the last time we talked about this, but was there any discussion about, in addition to adding certain categories, expanding certain categories, taking out anything? Or we're not tracking that path at the moment because we're from the States, which is also fine.
I don't think we tracked that. We
Okay.
haven't.
And then we also said that their NAICS codes are going to be updated very soon, so we were going to kind of revisit, make sure we're revisiting those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing the economic development had was pointing out that we had data centers approved, and did we realize what that meant?
Yes,
Exactly.
and we might want to put some caps around it.
Sure. Good point. Good feedback.
It was good of them to
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very.
point that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have enough information for you guys to help us move forward?
I think you have sort of the reach out items, yeah, and then I will take charge on, the environmental protection / prohibition language that we talked
Thank
about.
you.
Yeah, because,
And
I mean,
put these comments in our.
because the reality of it is, I mean, it's industrial. It is very hard, and you could probably agree, it is very hard to say, oh, well, you can do X. And if you open a use, regardless of how you, any ICS or anything else, like auto manufacturing, there's some pretty nasty stuff that auto manufacturers make, depending on where they are. Like it's always regulated. If it is hazardous, if it is a pollutant, if it is hazardous to waterways, they've got to deal with it because they can't let it run off to get to local waterways. I mean, I've been through that. So, but you can't just say, oh well, we only want X, because you never know, like, you know, unless you're an industry expert and know all the stuff that they're going to bring in the door, like you're right to those USPAs and, you know, the water agencies and air pollution agencies, that, you know, the company that's coming in is going to actually try to manage and meet all that. And if they don't, I mean, they got bigger fights than us,
Yeah.
if they're not measuring up to that. But it is one of those things that in the industrial area, there will always be nasty stuff. And you can't get away from it.
And you try to keep it out of the water, which is the water supply of Columbus.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So one of the things we talked about at the last meeting, I think it would be preferred by our trustees, although they have not said so explicitly, is that they would like us to not put forth the changes to the resolution until we have shored up the NEICS code question. On the other hand, part of the discussion, especially with Phil, was, you know, we're ready to begin that process, which, you know, includes public hearings and, you know, when timelines on when things have to be posted. So I guess dialogue is for us. Do we want to keep that in our back pocket for the time being and push forward with this? Looks like summer hearings are going to be light. So if that's the case, we may be able to bundle it all together in a timely manner. We're already 6 months past the goal we set last year to get those resolutions, you know, moved forward.
But I think with the timing of this right now, we're pretty close on this, I feel like. That if we were to bundle that together, that would be much better.
I think that's ideal.
Yeah.
That's ideal. So, but nobody has a disagreement with that. Okay. So we
we're gonna
have
have an awful lot of notifications,
yes.
because it's gonna be just what we went through with the original
Yes.
Yes.
overlays, which was hundreds of notifications.
It's monumental.
For everybody out there.
Yeah.
It's a monumental project.
And we have a lot more people living here now than we
Certainly
did.
do.
Yes.
I mean, I'm satisfied with that. Everybody else is concurring. We'll hold on.
And we can try to get you the information, I mean, it depends on a number of things, but
Sure.
we try to get them the information even in the meantime, if you wanna keep thinking about it and would not wait until, I forget when our next,
So the next one's on the
2 weeks or 4
9th.
weeks.
Next
Okay.
one's on the 9th, but the thing is that we only have 3 people here.
No, we have me.
Oh, that's it.
No.
Oh,
Raise out,
and
go out
Evan.
there.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's
So,
gone.
Okay.
Me and Evan.
yeah.
And Keith,
Well, me.
nobody's heard.
Is always going.
Keith is MIA. So I don't, unless Keith can be confirmed as being able to attend, we don't have anything close to a quorum. So. we're supposed to have a hearing on the 9th. It's already scheduled, am I correct on that, Jacob?
But it can be canceled.
I
I was
don't know.
looking at our list and I didn't see anything for the 9th.
Oh,
No.
there's a posting out on the front lawn that says there's a hearing on the 9th.
Do you know
Oh, there
which
is?
application it said?
It said Peach Blow, you know, you're going 55, I can't read that fast.
Well,
We could go look, I don't know.
Well, yeah, pitch back tomorrow, so I'll double check with him. And it sounds like we can't have it on the 9th anyways.
Well, I just don't know if there's a time constraint that we,
I do kind of realize, I do remember.
I think they said it was Ohio Mulch, but that's not on the Peach Blow, I didn't think.
So, Ohio Mulch withdrew their application, so it's that one we're okay.
Yeah, I knew that they didn't need to hold the ARB,
Yeah.
but withdrew, in Pip said withdraw, withdrew, it's full whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, they Ohio Mulch pulled it?
Yeah,
Oh.
Oh, okay.
maybe that's the one that was for the 9th.
Like I said, it says Peach Blow on the
Yeah.
sign out front.
I do feel like it was Ohio Mulch, and that's why I was.
That would make sense, because you have
Yeah.
to within 30 days of the ARB,
Yeah.
so that would make sense.
So Ohio Mulch has pulled, are they gonna reapply, or did ARB not approve them, or what
So
do we know?
they withdrew because, from their words, they did, something didn't work out with the property.
Oh, okay.
I do remember something was in our piece, PC, whatever it is, docket with Peach Blow, with the,
And it says 25 acres, so I'm trying to think what would be even 25 acres.
Oh,
it's not a,
it's not a development.
All I can think of is maybe it's a phase of one of the developments we've already.
that's what I was,
But on Peach Blow?
That's what it says. Like I said, you're driving by pretty fast, I'm just trying to get whiplash and not wrecked, but
we don't have any, did we have any follow-up meetings for the one right by the school?
But that one doesn't have a Peach Blow address. It has a
I
Pike Road
can't think of
address.
anything that would be coming back as a final, like one of the phases.
I don't know. Well, we need to know what was supposed to be on the
Yeah.
9th, because we're gonna have to do something different.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that.
But then that pushes us, would it be on our website already?
I've been looking at the website, the meeting is on your calendar for that day, but I
The
don't
next
see.
meeting is the 23rd.
So we have received some, final development plans for Oak Park.
Oh.
So those will
Oh.
probably be coming to you guys.
That's exciting.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, I like that one. The big oak tree. The big oak tree.
With the
Like,
roundabout.
yeah,
Yeah.
town center.
Yep, that one's exciting.
I feel like that's been forever.
So do you think they wanna be on the 23rd?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We have a bunch of boxes in our office that we need to sort through and get that figured out.
Okay. So then in July, we have the 14th and the 28th.
Okay, so we're gonna have to cancel the one on the 9th. Is Jana still working at the township? Jenna?
Who is that?
Keith's wife.
Oh.
Oh.
Works for, doesn't she do
Cemetery,
the cemetery
but-
thing, I think.
I might just drop in someday and go, where's Keith? See if
His grandmother.
Keith, you're on right now.
Keith, hello.
He's not.
Okay. Okay, so we gotta cancel the meeting on the 9th, and then with any luck on the 23rd, we may have a hearing, and we may get some answers from, our economic development friends.
And we will see, like I said, that's where I start to go with it, we will, I mean, I can certainly, draft what I'm writing to get to you before then, so you've had time to kind of digest it by the time we talk.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, Terry, you're at the 23rd also, correct? don't know, Evan, if you're able to pencil us in, but,
For the 23rd? Yeah.
okay. Anybody gonna be gone in those July meetings, 14, 28, that you know of?
Yeah.
So we can
Um,
hear some things.
there is potential I might have to be for the 28th.
Okay.
I don't, on July 28th, but, that's if I have to be down at, our office in Westchester. But I won't know that for another.
Well, we've
probably
got
till closer,
time.
yeah. probably till
Maybe,
closer.
maybe Evan
But I
can
think,
pencil us in.
yeah, I think I'll be okay with that. Because we go live on systems.
All right, is there any other business to be brought before the zoning commission? Did we start a new administrator this week? Not yet,
Not yet, I believe he starts, early June.
early June, okay.
That's good.
And is there any progress on a zoning secretary?
So, Amy talked to me, we're gonna be reviewing applications this week, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Any other stuff happening?
No, still just getting familiar with everything, like I said, I'm here to help you guys out, so if there's anything, any processes you want me to look at, or anything changes, I'm definitely happy to start doing that.
You have jumped right in, yeah. All right.
Are you fulfilling the role of zoning secretary right now?
Oh dear.
I did all three.
Yikes.
But Philip's coming back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, he was pretty bad. You tend to lose people in that role.
Oh, gosh. We try not to be mean. I don't know what we're doing wrong.
It's really better with you here now.
Right.
It'll be less workload, so.
Oh my gosh. All right, shall we adjourn? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, bye. All right, thank you, everybody. Carol won't see you until
I know.
I'll be hot and buggy.
It kind of is, so.
I know, it was ridiculous today. It went from just like normal to, well, this morning it was like normal. Then it was hot.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. What'd you say? It is tonight.
And it's field day tomorrow.
I know.